if you knew what was really in that hot dog you're about to bite into, you'd probably throw it in the trash faster than a vegetarian at a barbecue convention. Because what the meat industry doesn't want you to know could turn your stomach faster than a roller coaster after lunch. You think you're making smart choices at the grocery store. You read labels, check prices, maybe even go for the brands your family has trusted for decades. But here's the thing. Some of the most popular meat products on supermarket shelves contain ingredients so disturbing that if you saw them being made, you'd never touch them again. We're talking about mechanically separated meat that looks like strawberry soft serve from hell, ground beef mixed with ammonia-washed pink slime, fish sticks that contain more mystery than actual fish, and breakfast bacon loaded with enough chemicals to preserve a pharaoh for another 1,000 years. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on 6 meat products that should come with warning labels, plus the 2 options that won't make you question your life choices. From the lunch meat in your kid's sandwich to that convenient frozen dinner in your freezer, nothing is safe from scrutiny. Drop a comment and let us know. What's the worst thing you've ever found in your food? And if this already has you rethinking dinner plans, hit that subscribe button because we're just getting started. Let's start with something that's probably sitting in your refrigerator right now: processed deli meats. That turkey sandwich in your kid's lunchbox might contain more chemicals than actual turkey. Welcome to the world of processed deli meats, where hot dogs, bologna, and salami are crafted through a process so disgusting that factory workers have nicknamed it the grinder of nightmares. Here's what they don't tell you. Most deli meats start with something called mechanically separated poultry. Picture a giant machine that forces chicken bones, cartilage, and leftover scraps through a sieve under high pressure. What comes out is a pink paste that looks like bubblegum mixed with raw hamburger. This slime is then pumped full of sodium nitrite, corn syrup, and enough salt to de-ice a highway. A former Oscar Mayer employee leaked photos showing how hot dogs are really made. Quote, "We'd dump in anything that was left over: chicken lips, turkey necks, pork snouts. If it was meat-colored, it went in the grinder. The mixture gets stuffed into plastic casings and pumped with liquid smoke flavoring because actual smoking takes too much time and money." One customer posted a viral video of slicing open a hot dog to find what looked like a small piece of bone and a hair. The comments section exploded. Someone wrote, "That hot dog has more DNA than a crime scene." Another simply said, "I'm switching to vegetables and therapy." USDA inspection reports reveal the ugly truth. Multiple deli meat facilities have been cited for employees not washing hands between handling raw meat and packaging, rodent droppings found near processing equipment, and meat products left at unsafe temperatures for hours. The real kicker? These products are loaded with sodium nitrite to keep that appetizing pink color. Without it, your ham would turn an unappetizing gray within hours. But when nitrites heat up in your stomach, they form compounds linked to cancer. So, essentially, you're eating preservatives that preserve everything except your health. And yet, Americans consume over 20 billion hot dogs per year. That's not loyalty. That's marketing meeting desperation. But if processed deli meats seem bad, wait until you hear what's really in your ground beef. Your hamburger patty could contain meat from hundreds of different cows, and that's just the beginning of the problem. Ground beef isn't ground beef anymore. It's a science experiment wrapped in butcher paper and sold with a smile. Here's the dirty secret. Most ground beef, especially the cheap stuff, contains something called lean, finely textured beef. The industry calls it a safe, wholesome product. Everyone else calls it pink slime. This substance is made by heating beef scraps and fat trimmings, spinning them in a centrifuge to separate the fat, then treating the remaining paste with ammonia gas to kill bacteria. Yes, ammonia. The same chemical in your window cleaner is being used to wash your dinner. A former employee at a major processing plant described the process. "We'd take all the leftover bits and grind it all together. The pink slime can make up to 15% of your ground beef without being listed on the label. That quarter pounder isn't just beef. It's beef plus industrial cleaning solution. The contamination risk is astronomical because grinding spreads bacteria throughout the entire product. One contaminated piece of meat can infect an entire batch. A customer in Colorado posted photos of their ground beef that had turned green and slimy after just 2 days in the refrigerator. The store manager's response? Sometimes meat just does that. Sometimes meat just becomes a biohazard, apparently. CDC data shows that ground beef causes more foodborne illness outbreaks than any other meat product. In 2021 alone, over 100 people across 18 states got sick from E. coli traced to contaminated ground beef. Fast food chains make it worse by mixing meat from different suppliers, creating a bacterial lottery with every bite. One food safety expert compared eating a fast food burger to playing Russian roulette with your digestive system. And the odds aren't in your favor. But if ground beef makes you nervous, wait until you see how chicken nuggets are really made. Spoiler alert, it involves a pink paste that nightmares are made of. Those golden chicken nuggets your kids love are made from a pink paste that looks like strawberry soft-serve ice cream had a nightmare. But the reality of how they're created makes pink slime look gourmet. Welcome to mechanically separated chicken, the process that turns whole chickens into what one factory worker described as meat pudding. High-pressure machines force chicken carcasses through metal sieves, separating every last scrap of meat from bones and cartilage. What emerges is a smooth pink paste that contains ground-up bone fragments, cartilage, and connective tissue. This slurry gets mixed with salt, phosphates, and binding agents before being shaped into those familiar nugget forms. A leaked video from a major processing plant went viral when it showed workers dumping buckets of this pink chicken paste onto conveyor belts. The footage revealed chunks of unidentifiable material mixed in with the slurry. One viewer commented, "I've seen Play-Doh with better texture." Another wrote, "My dog wouldn't eat that, and he licks his own butt." The antibiotic problem makes it worse. Chickens raised for processing are pumped with so many antibiotics that their meat can create antibiotic-resistant bacteria. A study found that over 70% of chicken nuggets tested contained bacteria resistant to multiple antibiotics. That Happy Meal might come with a side of superbugs. Health inspection, reports from nugget facilities read like horror stories. Inspectors have documented workers handling raw chicken without changing gloves, equipment covered in old food residue, and temperature violations that left chicken paste sitting at room temperature for hours. One facility was cited when an inspector found that the pink paste looked more gray than pink, and had developed a film on top that workers were instructing to just mix it back in. A customer once bit into a nugget and found it completely hollow inside, just an empty breaded shell. They posted the photo with the caption, "Even the nugget gave up on being a nugget." The restaurant's response? Sometimes air pockets occur during processing. Air pockets, that's what they're calling it now. But processed chicken is child's play compared to what's hiding in your morning bacon. Those breakfast strips contain enough chemicals to preserve a small civilization. Your morning bacon contains more sodium than seawater and enough preservatives to mummify a pharaoh. That crispy strip sizzling in your pan isn't just pork. It's a chemistry experiment that happens to taste good with eggs. Let's talk about sodium nitrite, the magic ingredient that keeps your bacon that appetizing pink color. Without it, bacon would turn an unappetizing gray within hours of processing. But here's the kicker. When sodium nitrite hits high heat, like in a frying pan or your stomach acid, it forms nitrosamines, compounds linked to cancer. Essentially, your breakfast is conducting a small chemistry lab experiment every time you cook it. The sodium content is staggering. 2 strips of bacon contain over 600 milligrams of sodium. That's more salt than a bag of potato chips. One nutritionist compared eating bacon daily to seasoning your arteries with road salt. Your blood pressure monitor isn't broken. Your breakfast is just that salty. Breakfast sausages are even worse. A former employee at a major sausage facility revealed the disturbing truth. We'd dump in mechanically separated pork, organ meat scraps, and lymph nodes. Then we'd add so much salt and seasoning that you couldn't taste the weird bits. The mixture includes pork snouts, hearts, and what the industry politely calls variety meats. That's corporate speak for parts of the pig you'd never knowingly eat. One viral video showed a customer cutting open a breakfast sausage to find chunks of what looked like gristle and bone fragments. The sausage had a grayish color and rubbery texture that made viewers question their morning routines. Comments ranged from, "I'm switching to oatmeal," to, "That sausage has seen some things." The processing methods are designed for speed, not safety. Sausages are stuffed into casings so quickly that air pockets and contaminants often get trapped inside. One quality control worker admitted, "We'd see sausages with weird lumps or discolored spots, but the line moved so fast we couldn't catch them all. Most of it ships anyway." But if bacon and sausage seem problematic, wait until you discover what's lurking in those convenient canned meat products that never seem to expire. Here's what most people don't know about canned meat products like Spam, Vienna sausages, and potted meat. They're made from what the industry calls variety meats. That's a polite way of saying lips, snouts, hearts, and organs that couldn't be sold any other way. These parts get ground into a paste, mixed with enough salt to preserve a Viking, and pumped with chemicals that could probably fuel a small rocket. The sodium content is astronomical. One serving of Spam contains over 790 milligrams of sodium. That's more than a third of your daily limit in a few bites. A cardiologist once described canned meat as heart attack in a can wrapped in false convenience. Your arteries aren't clogged, they're pickled. A former employee at a canned meat facility revealed the disturbing truth about what goes into these products. We'd get shipments of meat that other plants couldn't use. Stuff that was too old, too fatty, or just looked wrong. It all went into the grinder for canned products. The joke was that if you couldn't identify what animal it came from, it was perfect for potted meat. The preservation process involves so many chemicals that the ingredient list reads like a chemistry textbook. Sodium nitrite, sodium erythorbate, sodium phosphate. That's not seasoning. That's embalming fluid with a nutrition label. One food scientist compared canned meat to meat-flavored plastic that won't biodegrade for 50 years. A customer once posted a photo of Spam that had developed a strange film on the surface after opening. The film was iridescent, like an oil slick, and peeled off in sheets. The company's response was that sometimes natural fats can create a harmless film. Harmless rainbow meat. That's reassuring. Health inspection reports from canned meat facilities show a pattern of violations: improper temperature control during processing, equipment not properly sanitized between batches, and in one shocking case, metal shavings found in finished products. One inspector noted that a facility was using the same conveyor belts for raw and cooked products without cleaning between uses. But even canned mystery meat seems appetizing compared to what's hiding behind the breading and frozen fish products. Spoiler alert, it's not always fish. Is less than #0. 5# is greater than. Those fish sticks in your freezer contain more mystery than the Bermuda Triangle. What's marketed as convenient seafood is often a collection of fish scraps, fillers, and whatever was cheap enough to grind up and call dinner. Here's the disturbing reality. Most frozen fish products use something called fish block, which is exactly what it sounds like. Processing plants take fish scraps, trimmings, and pieces too small to sell as fillets, then grind them into a paste and freeze them into blocks. The species swapping is rampant. Laboratory testing has revealed that many fish stick products contain cheaper fish than what's listed on the label. One study found that over 30% of fish products tested contained mislabeled species. That premium cod you're paying for? It's probably pollock, tilapia, or something even cheaper. One consumer advocate called it seafood identity theft with breadcrumbs. A former employee at a major frozen seafood plant revealed the shocking truth. We'd get shipments of fish that had been sitting in trucks for days. Some of it smelled so bad we had to wear masks just to unload it. But once it went through the grinder and got mixed with fillers and artificial flavoring, you couldn't tell the difference. The grinding process masks the texture and smell of fish that's past its prime. The filler content is staggering. Fish sticks can contain up to 50% non-fish ingredients: wheat flour, cornstarch, vegetable protein, and artificial flavors. You're essentially eating breadcrumbs with a fish suggestion. One nutritionist described fish sticks as ocean-flavored chicken nuggets for people who think they're eating healthy. FDA inspection reports from seafood processing facilities paint a disturbing picture. Inspectors have documented fish products left at unsafe temperatures, workers handling raw fish without proper sanitation, and processing equipment covered in old residue that wasn't properly cleaned. One facility was cited when inspectors found that fish paste had turned gray and developed an ammonia smell, but production continued anyway. A viral social media post showed someone biting into a fish stick to find it completely hollow inside, just breading with no filling. The caption read, "Even the fish abandoned ship." The company claimed it was a rare processing anomaly, which is corporate speak for, "We have no idea how this happened, but please keep buying our products." But after 6 warnings about what to avoid, it's time for some good news. There are actually 2 meat options that won't make you question your life choices. Finally, some good news. There's actually one type of beef that won't make you question your life choices or require a chemistry degree to pronounce the ingredients. Grass-fed beef is what meat used to be before factories got involved. Here's the difference that matters. Grass-fed cattle spend their lives grazing on pastures, not standing in feedlots eating corn, soy, and whatever else is cheap enough to fatten them up quickly. No growth hormones pumped into their system. No antibiotics mixed into their daily feed. No pink slime or ammonia wash is needed because the meat doesn't come from a contaminated industrial assembly line. The nutritional profile is dramatically better. Grass-fed beef contains up to 5 times more omega-3 fatty acids than grain-fed beef. It's higher in antioxidants, vitamin E, and conjugated linoleic acid, which has anti-inflammatory properties. One nutritionist described the difference as night and day, like comparing fresh fruit to fruit snacks. Your body can actually use these nutrients instead of just processing chemical additives. The processing methods are cleaner too. Grass-fed beef operations typically process smaller batches with more oversight. There's no need to mix meat from hundreds of different animals because the individual cattle are healthier to begin with. One grass-fed rancher explained, "When your cattle are healthy and clean, you don't need industrial chemicals to make the meat safe. You just need good butchering practices." The taste difference is noticeable. Grass-fed beef has a richer, more complex flavor because the cattle develop proper muscle tone from actually moving around instead of standing in one spot getting fat. It's leaner, which means it cooks differently, but once you adjust your technique, you'll never go back to the mushy texture of feedlot beef. Look for certifications like American Grass-Fed Association or Animal Welfare Approved when shopping. These labels actually mean something, unlike the meaningless natural stamps slapped on conventional meat. Yes, it costs more up front, but consider what you're not paying for. Antibiotics, growth hormones, ammonia treatments, and the medical bills that come with eating contaminated industrial meat. The cattle live better lives, the meat is cleaner, and your body gets actual nutrition instead of a chemistry experiment. It's proof that food can still be made the right way when profit isn't the only motive. But beef isn't your only safe option. There's one type of seafood that's still caught the way nature intended, without fish farms, antibiotics, or mystery ingredients. Wild-caught fish is proof that Mother Nature still makes food better than any factory ever could. While the seafood industry has become a carnival of contamination and mislabeling, wild-caught fish remains what it's always been. Actual fish that lived in actual oceans. Here's why it matters. Wild-caught fish swim in open water, eat their natural diet, and develop proper muscle tone from constantly moving. No antibiotics pumped into crowded fish pens. No artificial feed made from chicken waste and corn. No growth hormones to make them bigger, faster. Just fish being fish until they're caught and processed with minimal handling. The nutritional difference is stunning. Wild salmon contains up to 8 times more omega-3 fatty acids than farmed salmon. The flesh is firmer, the flavor more complex, and the color comes from natural carotenoids in their diet, not artificial dyes injected into farm-raised fish. A marine biologist once described farmed salmon as the chicken nuggets of the sea, but with more chemicals. Wild-caught processing operations are typically smaller and cleaner than industrial seafood plants. There's less opportunity for cross-contamination because they're handling one species at a time, often from the same fishing boat. One Alaskan processor explained, "We get fresh fish straight from the boat, process it within hours, and freeze it immediately. No sitting in warehouses, no mystery blocks, no grinding up scraps and calling it premium." The species integrity is real. When you buy wild-caught salmon, you're getting salmon. Not pollock with salmon flavoring, not a blend of fish scraps shaped into a fillet. Laboratory testing shows that mislabeling rates for wild-caught fish are dramatically lower than processed seafood products. Look for specific certifications: Marine Stewardship Council, Alaska Seafood Marketing Institute, or Pacific Seafood Processors Association. These organizations actually verify the source and processing methods. Avoid vague terms like fresh frozen or ocean fresh, which mean absolutely nothing and are often used to disguise inferior products. The texture and flavor tell the story. Wild-caught fish has a clean taste that reflects its environment. No muddy undertones from polluted fish farms. No artificial flavors needed to mask poor quality. Just the pure taste of seafood that lived its entire life in clean water eating its natural diet. It costs more, but you're paying for what fish should be. Clean protein from clean water, processed by people who understand that quality matters more than quantity. In a world of fake food and chemical shortcuts, wild-caught fish is refreshingly honest. Now you know what's really on your plate. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Remember that hot dog we talked about at the beginning? The one you'd throw in the trash if you knew what was in it? Well, now you do know. And it's not just hot dogs. The meat industry has spent decades perfecting the art of making the inedible look appetizing. They've convinced us that mechanically separated poultry is just another processing method. That pink slime is a safe, wholesome product. That fish sticks containing more filler than fish is somehow normal. But normal doesn't mean safe, and convenient doesn't mean clean. Here's the real betrayal. These companies know exactly what they're selling. They have teams of food scientists whose job is to make the worst ingredients taste acceptable. They use marketing budgets bigger than most countries' GDP to convince you that processed mystery meat is just as good as the real thing. They're not selling food. They're selling the illusion of food wrapped in clever packaging and catchy jingles. The good news is that you have power. Every time you choose grass-fed beef over pink slime, every time you buy wild-caught fish instead of processed fish blocks, you're voting with your wallet. You're telling the industry that quality matters more than convenience, that your health is worth more than their profit margins. Food should fuel you, not fool you. And now that you know the truth, you can make choices that actually serve your health instead of serving corporate bottom lines. The power is in your hands, and more importantly, it's in your shopping cart. If this opened your eyes to what's really hiding in your food, hit that like button and subscribe for more truth that isn't on the menu. Drop a comment and let us know which of these revelations shocked you the most. And share this with someone who still thinks processed meat is just convenient protein. They deserve to know what they're really eating.